Hi, my name is Kathy Phillips, and I'd like to thank Driscoll Health Plan for allowing me to read my book, Buddy Bear Goes to Kinnecott Mine. We were trying to decide what to do this weekend when my dad came home from work and said, "How would you all like to go on an adventure?" Well, we were excited, but had no idea about the adventure we were getting ready to take. On Friday, after Dad got through with his daily work in Anchorage, Alaska, we started packing. We were going to have an experience that we would never forget. It may have started out as any other trip, where we pack our bags and get ready for a long drive, but this trip was different. We got up early on Saturday morning, loaded the car with things we needed for the trip, and headed out. We drove for a couple of hours before it was time to turn onto the road to Kinnecott Mine. The road we were on was an old railroad track. This meant that there used to be a train track there, but they took out the steel tracks and left only the wooden planks in the road. So every few feet, the car went thumpity-thump, thumpity-thump, thumpity-thump. We traveled very slowly. This went on for 60 miles. It took us almost 3 hours to drive what should have taken only 1 hour on a paved road. When we got to the end of the road, there was a parking lot with about 10 cars lined up. We parked our car, took out our backpacks, and walked to where a group of people were gathered. There was a tram hanging over a raging river. To get to the lodge where we were going to stay, which was across the river, we had to get into this tram and pull the rope over it until we got to the other side of the river. My parents put all our backpacks into the tram. Mom sat next to me with my little brother in her lap, and my dad pulled the rope by hand until we crossed over the river. I was scared because my hat blew off my head and it flew into the river, and within seconds I couldn't see it anymore. My little brother was only 2 years old, so he did not know to be afraid, but I was scared because we were only a few feet above that raging river. When we got to the other side of the river, we took our bags out of the tram, walked half a mile to the next tram, and crossed the next river. It was moving as fast as the first river. After crossing the second river, we walked another half mile to the lodge. Then I saw a bear near the trees. I told my parents, "Look, there's a bear over there. Is it Buddy Bear?" He was eating berries, and when he turned, we could see his face and saw the scar in the shape of a C. We all shouted, "It is Buddy Bear!" We couldn't believe we were seeing him again. We checked in to the McCarthy Lodge and went across the street to the barber shop. There we met the owners of the lodge and had a delightful visit with them. After dinner that night, we went back to the barber shop, and the owners of the lodge started telling us ghost stories. They showed us pictures of the ghosts that had appeared in the lodge. Now, I was scared. I was not sure if I believed in ghosts, but when they showed us pictures with a white figure next to a person in the picture, it made me believe they do exist. That night in our room at the lodge, I kept looking all around to see if there was a ghost. I must have fallen asleep because I woke up the next morning not seeing any ghosts that night. The next day, my family wanted to go up the mountain to Kinnecott Mines, which is an abandoned copper mine. In the early 1900s, they were digging lots of copper out of the mine. It was one of the richest copper mines ever found. After breakfast, we packed our 2 backpacks with our lunch, snacks, and water and headed out hiking toward the mine. It was a beautiful summer day in Alaska. Another couple was hiking too, so we all walked together. While we were hiking, my little brother's legs got tired, so he said, "Daddy, carry me." So Dad picked him up and put him on top of his shoulders. We hiked a long way and finally arrived at the last part of the trail. It was a very narrow path next to a steep drop down the mountain. It was wide enough for only one person to walk on it at a time. It was on this last part that I thought I saw something black move higher up the mountain. I asked my dad, "Can there be bears this high up on the mountain?" Dad said, "Well, sure. This is their natural habitat, or the area where bears naturally live. We'll make noise as we walk and keep our eyes open. Bears usually stay away from people, and if we make noise, he'll know we're here and he won't bother us." I wondered if it was Buddy Bear again. As we were walking on this narrow path up the mountain, I started screaming and jumping around. I screamed, "A bee is after me!" I started sliding very close to the edge of the mountain, and my mom grabbed me and wrapped her arms around me to calm me down and keep me from falling off the mountain. She said, "Michelle, stop screaming. It's only a butterfly." I calmed down, and then I realized how close I had come to falling off that mountain. I'm glad my mom saved me. We soon reached Kinnecott Mine near the top of the mountain. There was snow here because we were so high up and the air was much colder. We looked around the mine, and it looked as if when the miners left, they just dropped all their tools right where they were and walked off. There were shovels, picks, and other rusty tools just lying around everywhere. I asked my dad, could those ghosts have been some of the people that worked here in the mine? Dad said, "I'm not sure. Why don't we grab some of these shovels and slide down that snow-covered hill right behind the old building over there?" Mom said, "I don't think our children have ever been snow sledding since we rarely get snow in Corpus Christi." We each grabbed a shovel and climbed the hill behind the building that looked like where the miners must have lived. I wondered if that building had ghosts roaming the hallways too. My little brother was having trouble carrying his shovel since it was bigger than he was, so I said, "Here, Justin, let me help you." We all got to the top of the hill, and my dad said, "On the count of 3, let's all slide down together." We all counted 1, 2, 3, and we all started sliding down the hill. It was so much fun. "Who needs a sled when you have a shovel to slide on?" Dad said. After sliding several times, we noticed that there were rocks that had green in them. My dad told me that the green was copper in its natural state. We picked up a handful of green rocks so I could show my friends when I got back home. Then we heard a rustling in the bushes, and I wondered if it was the ghost of the miners or a bear. We saw a black bear eating, and I yelled, "Mom, Dad, look, it's Buddy Bear." We weren't worried anymore since it was Buddy Bear, the friendly bear that seems to be watching over us. We waved to Buddy Bear, who kept his eye on us, but kept on eating the berries too. I turned to look at Dad, and he said, "Here we are at the top of a high mountain. We see the mine, which is a part of history, the beautiful mountaintops and glaciers, and here is our friend Buddy Bear that seems to be following us wherever we go and watches over us." I told my dad this is another adventure I will never forget. Do you think we'll ever see Buddy Bear again? The end. Thank you, boys and girls in Driscoll Health Plan, for allowing me to read my book, my second book, Buddy Bear Goes to Kinnecott Mine, to you today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.